hebben onder andere Ingo Pfeffendorf, I hope I'm saying it right, from Göttingen State and University Library. And he will talk about Tiffy. Then we have Edward Silverton from Exhibit, who will talk about the new features on Universal Viewer 4. And then we have Leander Siege from Head of Digital Services at Leipzig University Libraries, and he will talk about Mirador. But first we have Karin van der Poorten, die ons een korte inleiding gaat geven over alles samengevat van de viewers, wat dat ze kunnen, wat de verschillende features zijn en welke viewer interessanter is, op welke manier.
De bedoeling is dat we een kort overzichtje gaan geven van verschillende viewers die er zijn, of die we toch gevonden hebben. Ik vermoed dat de meesten wel weten waarom IIIF-viewers dienen. Namelijk om data en beelden uit IIIF-bronnen te kunnen tonen en te integreren, zijn er verschillende viewers ontwikkeld. Een viewer kan beelden van verschillende instellingen weergeven via het web en informatie tonen die via de verschillende API's wordt opgehaald. Elke viewer biedt verschillende gebruikerservaringen of functies aan. We hebben die niet tot in detail uitgespit en ik vermoed voor de 3 viewers die aan bod komen, dat zij daar ook wel iets meer gaan over vertellen. Er zijn IIIF-viewers die enkel de Image API en een diepe zoom ondersteunen, zoals bijvoorbeeld OpenSeaDragon, Leaflet, IIIF enzovoort. Anderen combineren dit dan met de Presentation API, bijvoorbeeld Mirador, Universal Viewer, Tiffy en nog anderen. In de prentjes onderaan zie je bijvoorbeeld links OpenSeaDragon enkel Image API. En rechts zie je een voorbeeldje van Mirador met Presentation API. En in het derde prentje zie je eigenlijk een combinatie van de 2. Het vierde beeld is eigenlijk custom-made viewers. Dat is nog een aparte soort. En is ook een optie als bijvoorbeeld specifieke functionaliteiten of aangepaste layout nodig zou zijn. Een voorbeeldje daarvan is de AMSAP viewer of de LibCrowd viewer, die speciaal gemaakt is ook voor annotaties met crowdsourcing. De voordelen van de viewers, onderzoek en vergelijking. Je kan beelden uit verschillende collecties naast elkaar plaatsen in één viewer en dan heen en weer klikken tussen de verschillende websites. Bijvoorbeeld een IIIF-manifest van een manuscript in Parijs kan je dan perfect naast een manuscript zetten dat in Gent aanwezig is. En beide manuscripten worden in dezelfde omgeving naast elkaar getoond. Het biedt tal van andere voordelen voor eindgebruikers. Gebruikers die een beeld willen hergebruiken, moeten het niet langer downloaden, bewaren, uploaden, doorsturen enzovoort. Via het manifest kan het beeld teruggevonden en hergebruikt worden. Beelden laden vrijwel direct, ook als ze in hoge resolutie zijn. Formaat, schaal, focusgebied, rotatie en kwaliteit kunnen gemanipuleerd worden. En in sommige gevallen kun je ook rechtstreeks op beelden annotaties toevoegen. Nadelen, misschien dan eerder gericht naar kleinere instellingen, is het technische aspect erachter, de implementatie, maar meestal kan dat ook wel eenvoudig opgelost worden. Een overzichtje van de viewers, de meest gekende en gebruikte viewers voor diverse toepassingen. Zoals daarnet al vermeld zijn ze een beetje opgelijst. OpenSeaDragon is een open source webgebaseerde viewer voor hoge resolutie, zoombare afbeeldingen, geïmplementeerd in JavaScript voor desktop en mobiel. En het is ook vaak de basis voor andere viewers, zoals Curtain Viewer, Clover, IIIF, waarvan dat je een voorbeeldje ziet rechts. Leaflet IIIF, Leaflet JS plugin voor het bekijken van IIIF afbeeldingen. De links die je ziet, demo en voorbeelden, daar kun je doorklikken. De presentatie wordt normaal gezien ook achteraf ter beschikking gesteld. En aan alle links kan je dus doorklikken en voorbeelden gaan bekijken. Maar het zou ons iets te ver leiden qua tijd om dit nu allemaal samen te overlopen. De volgende komen we eigenlijk bij de grotere 3 die er ook straks aan bod komen. De Mirador. is een open source web-based multi-window beeldweergegeven platform met zoom, weergave, vergelijking en annotatiemogelijkheden. Er zijn eigenlijk nog 2 versies in omloop. Mirador 2 bestaat al een aantal jaren en is nog bij meerdere instellingen in gebruik. De Mirador 3 is sinds 2020, wordt zoals de andere viewers ook actief verder ontwikkeld en is ook reeds in een aantal instellingen al in gebruik. Dan komen we bij de Universal Viewer. Daar zie je ook dat er terug 2 versies zijn. En zoals ze zelf omschrijven, is de Universal Viewer een door de gemeenschap ontwikkeld open source project met een missie om u te helpen om boeken, manuscripten, video, audio en ook 3D te delen met de wereld. In 2012 zijn ze gestart als de Welcome Player, ontwikkeld door Digirati. Later werd er een stuurgroep opgericht, Nemo-Scene, waarbij het Silverton die hier aanwezig is ook behoort. En intussen is in juni 2022 versie 4 uitgebracht. Vandaar dat er bovenaan 2 linken staan, demo versie 3 en versie 4. Momenteel zie je nog vaak dat de 3 gebruikt is, aangezien dat de versie 4 vrij recent is. Tiffy is een mobile-friendly IIIF document viewer, gebouwd met View.js, ontwikkeld door de Göttingen State and University Library. Het is een goede IIIF viewer voor algemeen gebruik met een snelle en gebruiksvriendelijke interface, die ook wel iets meer naar mobile gericht is. De IIIF Curation Viewer is ontwikkeld in Japan, met toegevoegde focus om delen van beelden te verzamelen van IIIF-compatibele websites. De demo zie je ook een voorbeeldje hiernaast. Volgens wat ik getest heb, lijkt die enkel te werken momenteel met IIIF manifesten versie 2. De versie 3 kwam er een foutmelding. Diva is meer een document image viewer. Eigenlijk meer een boekbeeldenviewer ontworpen om documenten met meerdere pagina's en meerdere resoluties te presenteren. En is eigenlijk een beetje een lichtgewicht viewer. Dan hebben we kort nog ook even opgelijst. Die behoren wel tot de viewers. Sommigen noemen ze viewers, anderen niet. Het zijn viewers of tools met meer specifieke toepassingen. Maps gerelateerd. Open Layers is eerder een tool die ook IIIF gebruikt en het mogelijk maakt om dynamische kaarten en webpagina's te tonen. Meer naar gebruik, interactief gebruik en storytelling toe komen we bij Canvas Panel. Dat is een component voor gebruik op een vergelijkbare manier als OpenSeaDragon of Leaflet, maar met behulp van IIIF Canvas als model en formaat om inhoud samen te stellen. Het biedt een interface waarmee je snel dingen kan bouwen, zoals bijvoorbeeld de tuinen der lusten van Hieronymus Bosch. En met de technologie achter dit project werd het Micrio-platform ontwikkeld. Een volledig compatibel IIIF client en cloud-based hosting platform. Dus het is meer dan een viewer, het biedt ook hosting aan en dergelijke meer. En het is beschikbaar als abonnementdienst, dus ja, ten opzichte van de andere is dit dan wel betalend. De meeste andere viewers zijn open source en ja, gratis te gebruiken. Als ik me niet vergis, hangt Edwin Verbruggen van Micrio hier eventueel ook aanwezig zijn. Dus mochten er daarover vragen zijn, kan dat straks ook nog. Dan hebben we nog annotaties. Anona is een JavaScript-bibliotheek waarmee gebruikers WW3 Web Annotations in een visueel formaat kunnen weergeven. De tool wordt geleverd met 4 opties: Image, Storyboard, Multi-Storyboard en Range Storyboard Viewer voor het weergeven van materiaal. Met deze weergaven kunnen gebruikers aanpasbare onderwijs-, leer- en visualisatietools bieden die bruikbaar zijn op alle apparaten. Daaronder staan er ook nog 2 links die ook nog meer informatie en extra links bevatten. En op alle individuele websites, waarvan de links terug te vinden zijn in de presa, zijn ook nog een aantal voorbeelden, documentatie, GitHub links en dergelijke te vinden voor mensen die meer informatie willen of zelf willen implementeren of verder uitzoeken hoe en wat of welke viewer te gebruiken. Er zijn ook een paar handige tools of browser-extensies die ook wel een link geven of kunnen gebruikt worden als IIIF-viewer. Open in IIIF-viewer is een Firefox Chrome-uitbreiding om IIIF-manifest-links te openen in je favoriete viewer. En Detective is een Chrome en Firefox browser-extensie die IIIF-bronnen en websites detecteert. Het is mogelijk om manifesten in een mandje te verzamelen en deze naar elke compatibele IIIF-applicatie te sturen. Het is uitgebreid configureerbaar en kan worden aangepast met individuele thema's. Het is ontwikkeld. De ontwikkeling is een samenwerking tussen Sage Digital en de Centraal Bibliotheek Zurich. Als alles goed gaat, is Leander straks onze derde spreker. Dus misschien komt dat ook nog even aan bod. Op de site van IIIF, IIIF.io, is er ook een IIIF-3 viewer matrix te vinden. Zoals waarschijnlijk wel een aantal mensen of de meeste van jullie weten, vroeger was een tijdje geleden was een IIIF versie 2. Sinds een paar jaar is er een versie 3, maar nog niet alles is werkbaar met versie 3. En op die matrix kun je eigenlijk zien welke viewers er momenteel inbegrepen zijn. De Mirador 3, de Universal en Anona. En sinds vrij recent is Clover daar ook bijgekomen. Ze hopen op toevoeging van nog andere viewers, maar die moeten wel bepaalde functies ondersteunen, zoals ondersteuning van Presentation API 3.0, toegepast zijn door een instelling waarnaar kan doorgelinkt worden, en minstens 1 kookboekrecept ondersteunen. Dus als ze aan die voorwaarden voldoen, komen ze mee in het lijstje. Dus hopelijk wordt dat altijd maar uitgebreider. Dan hebben we even bij onze partners en bij de collega-groep gekeken wie gebruikt welke viewer en eventueel ook waarom. Voor de Vlaamse kunstcollectie heb ik het nagevraagd bij 3 van onze partnermusea die dit of vorig jaar hun website vernieuwd hebben en ook IIIF toegepast hebben. Onderaan zien de beeldjes per museum. Bij Musee zijn ze gestart met de ontwikkeling van hun collectiepagina. Hadden ze toen nog niet veel kennis of geen kennis van IIIF en de verschillende IIIF-viewers. De eerste IIIF-Friday was een half jaar later. En dankzij deze Fridays hebben ze ondertussen wel wat meer basiskennis. Dus toen ze hun collectiepagina opgestart hebben, hebben ze bij hun webbouwer inlichtingen ingewonnen en ook bij Hero Solutions. En de viewer die op dat moment aangeraden werd, was de Universal. Ze zijn daar nog altijd tevreden over en gebruiken die tot op heden nog altijd op hun collectiepagina. Het KMSKA is iets recenter en zij gebruiken Tiffy. En ze hebben die gekozen omdat die best aanpasbaar was aan het design van hun website. En Musea Brugge is eentje van dit jaar. En zij hebben zich een beetje geïnspireerd op de Art Hub van de VKC, die Mirador al gebruikte. Dat werkte naar behoren in hun testomgeving en het kan sterk aangepast worden naar de eigen wensen. Dat vonden ze een groot pluspunt. En ook hun huidige configuratie is sober en praktisch opgemaakt zonder overbodige functionaliteiten. Vandaar dus die 3 keuzes. Toevallig zijn het ook 3 verschillende viewers en net degene die uitgebreider straks nog aan bod komen. De Openbare Bibliotheek van Brugge het project is volop bezig en eigenlijk aan het afronden met het project Monk, dat in begin december gelanceerd wordt, waar we zeker naar uitkijken. Op het nieuwe platform gebruiken ze een geëmbedde Universal Viewer op de detailpagina, maar ze bieden de gebruiker ook de mogelijkheid om zelf te switchen naar een viewer van keuze. Ze vonden Universal Viewer de gemakkelijkste viewer voor hun materialen, zijnde manuscripten. En de Universiteitsbibliotheek van Gent Hebben in 2016 gekozen voor Universal Viewer, onder andere omwille van de layout, de mogelijkheden tot het maken van collecties, authentication. In de toekomst willen ze open source software aanpassen naar eigen frontend, met meer mogelijkheden en variatie afhankelijk van de content. Verdere integratie van de viewer in de catalogus, bijvoorbeeld integratie van Search en View online. En de Authentication API implementeren nu in de viewer, maar ze willen die op een ander niveau brengen. Mochten er daar rond vragen zijn, de collega's zijn hier ook aanwezig. Dus in het vragenronde kan dat nog altijd aan bod komen. En dit was het voor wat mij betreft in verband met het overzichtje. Mochten er vragen zijn, horen we het ook nog wel of zien we het in de chat. En dan geef ik graag het woord door aan een van onze internationale sprekers om te starten met Tiffy.
Yeah, my name, that's a thing. Not even in Germany, most of the people can pronounce it correctly. And yeah, but I will tell you. So, hi, my name is Ingo, and now Pfennigstorf. From Pfennigstorf. Yeah, that's even in Germany, it's quite an unusual name. I'm working in the department of the digital library at the Göttingen State and University Library. I will abbreviate it to SUB or SUB in the next slide, so whenever I get mentioned. So just a few things. At the SUB, we have got some big repositories. The most prominent or interesting is the Göttingen Center for Digitization, Center for Retrospective Digitization. This is also the project where Tiffy bore out. So where we really implemented it first, it's kind of a product that fell off from this redesign of the Göttingen Center for Digitization. We got lots of data there and hosting a national licenses repository, which will be switching to IIIF very soon. And there will also be Tiffy integrated anymore. And yeah, and also the Digi-Zeitschriften project. This is a repository for German academic journals, maybe comparable to JSTOR. And they are all more or less based on IIIF. The national license has only got the IIIF image API in, and the other ones already complete presentation API and image API. And counting, there are some more. So yeah, as I first mentioned, when we were redesigning the Göttingen Center for Digitization, we needed a viewer that, yeah, we already implemented one in the project before this national license product, but that was not IIIF compatible or only the image API. So we wanted to go fully fledged IIIF there and wanted to go some steps further, like complete IIIF compliance, the single place application. And we wanted to be it as a standalone product and also available on npm.js, the package repository for JavaScript. And we need a really fast and small viewer that is able to handle very huge documents with lots of metadata in there. And yeah, as you can maybe see, or some JavaScript developers, you will see that the IIIF viewer, the we is the we from Vue.js. This is the framework that we choose for using it. This was back in the days, I think 2017, state of the art. As you all know, JavaScript frameworks changed, but that's the thing we decided. We used Ember and Angular before, but we're not really happy with them. So we decided to implement it in Vue.js and gave it a fluffy name, the Tiffy. Yeah. So we had a comparison. I excuse to anyone who feels offended by the next slide. We compared the viewers 2017, 2019, and felt that Mirador had lots of features, but was performance-wise not that good, not that mobile friendly, had no support for text data, theme extensibility were not that big, and yeah, we didn't really like it. Universal Viewer was great. regarding the features, had not that great mobile support, and with Diva.js, you can see in the table. So this is very subjective. And the thing we wanted to do was really mobile friendly and small and lean IIIF viewer. And we said, yeah, Tiffy rocks, really.
Yep, I'm Ed Silverton from Neverseen. We're a small company based in Brighton in the UK. I'm going to be telling you about Universal Viewer version 4 and other kind of enhancements that are part of that. So the major kind of change in version 4 was we migrated to Webpack. Not sure how familiar everyone is with Webpack, but it's kind of a modern bundler for JavaScript, and it has kind of lots of benefits to it in that now that we're using Webpack, the UV is highly extensible in that whenever we add more things to it, they can be loaded dynamically at runtime. So when the viewer loads, it loads very quickly and only loads the things it needs to view that particular object. Whereas previously in version 3, it was kind of one big JavaScript bundle. So that's definitely an improvement. It also means we can use things like React now as well, which we're starting to, and I'll talk about that a bit later. I think that's it for Webpack. This is a kind of the merge. It was basically an ongoing project for 3 years maybe, and it was very much a community effort. Although I ended up merging it, but it was, you know, there were a lot of commits to get from version 3 to version 4. Sophie, who's on the call, actually commissioned me to implement this, which is now part of version 4. So this is YouTube support. So the actual, and this was part, because Bruges Public Library were using Exhibit, which I'll talk about a bit later, which uses the Universal Viewer, they wanted to include YouTube videos within their exhibits. So because Exhibit uses the Universal Viewer, we needed to extend the UV to support YouTube. So a kind of a long-standing ambition of the UV community has been to kind of almost decouple from IIIF and support other types of media. One of the big reasons behind this is we have kind of commercial kind of users like Siemens and people like that who want to load up PDFs, and they're not particularly worried about using IIIF to wrap up those PDFs. They don't really understand what it is, what it's for. They just want to view PDFs. So this is a kind of a big architectural change. We call them content handlers. So there's a IIIF content handler now, which is essentially all of the same features that you know from the Universal Viewer, but there's a YouTube content handler as well, which is completely separate to that. And we'd like to add, you know, more tabs along here in time, like PDFs and what have you. So thanks, Sophie, for commissioning that. So other features. I mentioned earlier we can now support React. So the British Library are a big user of this. Their kind of, the UV is their kind of strategic viewer, if you like, and they have a backlog that we're always kind of working on, chipping away at. And one of the things that's been a long-standing issue was downloads. So when you're looking at two up, when you've got 2 pages recto verso next to each other, it used to be the case where in this menu you'd click a download button and it would try to open 2 browser tabs, one for each image that you're downloading. And browser security changed to disallow that, so you can only open one tab via script. So we needed to come up with a solution for that. So and we used the opportunity to kind of, actually the download panel doesn't look it, but it's actually one of the more complicated parts of the Universal Viewer. There's so much going into that behind the scenes for all the various types of manifests and things. So it was the first opportunity to kind of rebuild this whole panel using React. And Ingo was talking about Vue.js earlier. React is a similar kind of thing. It's a kind of a JavaScript framework. And we rebuilt the whole thing in React. And now you're able to choose which page you want to download, and whether it's a whole image. And there are actually a lot more options here that are possible, but this is kind of a basic example. Since then, we've also re-implemented the thumbnails panel in React, which makes it a lot easier to work with. And over time, we're actually working with the IIIF consortium on something called IIIF Commons, and the goal there, and that's now a strategic goal of the IIIF consortium, is to provide a kind of a resource where there are kind of generic components that the community can use for reference. So this is a kind of an ongoing effort, and so we're now working on thumbnails. That's done. It would be great to work on metadata panel next, and one of the really difficult ones is displaying. This is kind of what led to the need for the IIIF Commons organization, is that there's an outstanding bug with Mirador and UV where neither quite does it right when it displays things that have been digitized at different sizes. Both adopt different strategies, and it seems that neither is quite right. So what I'd love to see happen, and I think the IIIF consortium would love to see happen, is a kind of a more generic kind of reference implementation that could be referenced by developers. This is a recipe almost. This is how it's done. So we're starting to get somewhere with that. So yeah, we've also been working with JISC, who required the UV to have a AA accessibility statement. So that's a new thing as well. It's kind of a big checkbox. And because the UV now is refactored to work with Webpack, all these kind of interesting new possibilities have opened up. So what you're seeing here, this is an online code editor called Code Sandbox. Probably see it here. Actually, you've got a script and a CSS file, and that's it. That's all you need to get the UV to work now. In version 3, you can see it's very simple. You've got a div here and a script where we're initializing the UV, passing it this data object, and so this is just a single uv.js file. So it makes it incredibly easy to create these kinds of examples. And in fact, our documentation now has several of these, and we use them in our, whenever someone creates a pull request, it generates a code sandbox of it, so we can view it and immediately see what's working and what isn't. And we can reference them. So whenever anyone creates an issue, we encourage them to fork one of these code sandboxes and to demonstrate the issue. It makes it a lot easier as a developer to kind of respond to that. So this has been a huge improvement for the project. Also, now that we have Webpack, we have hot reloading. So you can, when you change some code, you can see it in your browser, immediately refresh. And that sounds basic, but it took us a long time to get to that. Also, to respond to Ingo, mobile support is 100% now. It wasn't in 2019, but it's now, you know, satisfies web accessibility kind of and all of that. So the other thing to mention is our steering group. This was founded a few years ago now. Has 25 contributors, and we have kind of a tiered membership where if you contribute more than, I think it's $100 a month, you become part of our steering group, and that basically gives you a seat at the table, and you can help decide how we spend our budget. And obviously, and that's been working really well actually, because there's many people that depend on the UV out there, and they are really interested in seeing certain things being implemented. So we've got several kind of steering group members now. I think all of the UK's national libraries, and yeah, we have a fairly decent kind of budget annually to fix bugs and sometimes implement new features. We also, if you're in the steering group and you want to travel to a conference or something like that to talk about the UV, then you can expense that. So yeah, so far we spent $41,000 on all of that kind of stuff. I'm actually working on a sprint right now to fix a few things that is paid for by the steering group. So one more thing to mention, exhibit.so. This is a project that started with the University of St Andrews, and it's a storytelling platform. What it says here, easy to use tools for promoting engagement and learning with your online digital collections. So we tried to make it the most approachable, kind of simple to use thing we could, and you can create, you know, slideshows, scrolly telling stories, kiosks, and quizzes now as well, using your IIIF content, and seen a lot of great excitement around this project and adoption, and it's all very, very exciting time. And this uses the universal viewer, and so we've got a nice kind of feedback loop going on there where improvements to exhibit feed through to the universal viewer and vice versa. I'd be happy to demo this for anyone who's interested. Okay, so that's my talk. I hope I didn't go over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edward. That was very, very interesting. Also very technical, but we're happy to see some more insights behind developments that seem quite fast going or normal, but to see what kind of work is behind it, it's also always very interesting to see that.
So we got a domain, tiffy.rocks, which is also purpose as a demo page. You can put your manifest there and directly see it in Tiffy Viewer. And all the features, we've got some demo collections there, not collections yet, no spoiler. We've got some demo manifests there linked, and I will show you some examples just as screenshots here. So, okay, yeah, we've got a claim, a slogan for Tiffy. It should be a slim and mobile-friendly IIIF document viewer, and that's, yeah, a thing. So this is the demo page from the Tiffy Rocks page, the Papyrus of, oh God, Dioscoros of Aphrodito, and yeah, there you can see the basic view. So we've got this Open Sea Dragon viewport, and on the header bar we've got the title and pages view, and you can switch the pages. You can have different panels for views. You can use the pages panel, info export, information panel, and full screen view. So if this is another page of this, our Göttingen Center for Digitization. There you can see the pages with the thumbnail view and the detail view. And I put the link below, and there you can see in the URL is already reflected which kind of panel you used. this is kind of a preliminary content state API, or predecessor maybe. So we implemented this content state API before it was even discussed in IIIF, but we're going to the content state API because it's base 64 encoded and not that long URLs there. So this will be one of our next steps. Yeah, and each thing you see, it will be reflected in the URL. So you have the possibility to choose 3 or more or 1 pages and show them all together. So you can just click on a page in the thumbnail view, you see all the pages, and also you see it again reflected in the link below where it says page 1, 14, and 15 in the thumbnail view are selected. That's also a great feature, and it also helps sending people links, and they see exactly the same as you do. We got the content panel where you can see the structure of the document on the manifest. We have document, and also see the view TOC, table of contents, in the URL below. And the information, this is just the metadata things where we put license, author, whatever, editor in. And this is a so-called info panel. We named it info. And the export panel shows some export formats that are defined in the IIIF manifest. You can download all the images. This is the one at the very top. You can download also different formats here for citation, such as BibTeX, EndNote, RIS. You can have a link to the DFG viewer, which is quite popular mods viewer in Germany, and yeah, PDF export also if it is supported. So mobile friendliness was a big thing. So I put some screenshots there. So this is the metadata panel, or where the information, basic information about this is shown in the mobile browser. And this is another view in the mobile browser where you get, when you tap on this is called Ansicht here, this is different view panels. You can select which panel of these you want to view and have the OpenSea Dragon, the image of the page in the middle. So you can switch there, very good. Yeah, and now the technical part, sorry to bother you, but I'll go through it quite fast maybe. So the thing you have to do to install Tiffy in your application is npm I or npm install Tiffy. And then it gets downloaded, and then on your page, if you want to do it in JavaScript, you import the Tiffy JavaScript, import the Tiffy CSS if you want to. And then one thing we implemented this year is you've got the possibility to make initializations of Tiffy. So you can do, you have Tiffy objects, you can have multiple Tiffy objects. And then you say new Tiffy, the container is a CSS or the HTML markup where you want to put Tiffy in the viewer, and the manifest URL. You can do it there. We've got something from the University of Leipzig there. But you can also pass the manifest via URL parameter on Tiffy rocks if you want to see how it works. The next thing we did was a request from a colleague of mine. You can have multiple Tiffys on one page. This is also done because possible because you can initialize different Tiffy objects in the code. So different containers showing different Tiffys with different manifests or different documents. And if you go further step, you can maybe put them together or have some views. If you take the manifest from the one institution beside another from another institution, and you can maybe in the future, this is one thing we have on our agenda, link them together. So when you switch one page there, you can also switch the page in the other one. Yeah, but if you do it like that, it will look like that. I built a small demo page locally. So at the left, you've got the one from the Tiffy one container. At the right, you've got another one. So there, you can put them side by side or as many as you want. We got an API for Tiffy. So you can programmatically change something like the view. So you can, in your code, say change the panel to the thumbnails view. You can say in the code, set page 2, then it gets automatically navigated to page 2. And this is what I've done here. I took Tiffy2, the container, and navigated to page 2 in the thumbnail view, and you see it on the right presentation. So currently in development, the next thing on our agenda is IIIF 3.0 API support, which is really the next thing. Collections support is already done, will be released next week. Standalone image API support was also a request that you can just put your image API link there and you have an OpenSeaDragon or our Tiffy and can zoom and pan and whatever you want. And also what is important is a plugin or event system that not everything has to go into the Tiffy core. So you can extend Tiffy for, I don't know, new panels or so, or new functionality, text, image linking or whatever. And a sneak peek on the not yet released thing, this is a collection support in Tiffy. We've got also a quite slightly changed header. So we also thought it was kind of outdated with Tiffy. We got Tiffy for, I don't know, 5 years now. And so it's a really little refresh. So this is IIIF collections. They are on the next version of the Tiffy Rocks page, also some demo applications, collections. And this is the look. If you choose a collection, you have a new collections tab on Tiffy, and then you can go through all your collections. We also plan having a small filter input that you can easily, when you type, maybe go to 1834, then it will only show the collections dealing with 1834. Yeah, this will be released next week, I hope. Yeah. GitHub is free and open source. Feel free to contribute. This is the link. We've got an own organization there. We've got a Typo 3 extension. I don't know if Typo 3 is somewhere more popular than in Germany. It's a content management system and PHP based. We use it a lot, and we've got I built an integration for that. And also a thing that I did in my spare time was Tiffy Desktop, just having a native Tiffy application that you can download, you can install, or just run it on your computer. It's built for Windows, Mac, and Linux systems. And when you open it, you get asked, give me the link to your manifest. Then you enter it, and you have a Tiffy on your desktop. This is just some toying around. I have no real use case for that currently, but it's a fun project, and it's built with Wales. This is the framework for the wrapper there. Yeah, so I think you say bedankt, and thanks a lot for having me. And yeah, we are also blogging a little bit. If you want to follow us on our blog, it's mostly in English. That's the way to go. So thank you.
Bedankt, Ingo. It's very interesting. Good luck with the release next week. I hope everything goes very smoothly.
Thanks.
So our next speaker is Leander.
Yes, hi. Just give me a second to set up my screen and screen sharing. Hello to you, of course. I'm using a different machine than regularly, so please allow me to switch these things here so everything works. Obviously, I never used Microsoft Teams on this laptop, so I first have to set permissions right so I can share my screen. But yesterday I already had a chance to do the same for Chrome, so I feel pretty confident that it will work in a sec.
Moesten er mensen ondertussen al vragen hebben, voor jullie gerust vrij om ze in de chat te plaatsen. En dan gaan we straks die allemaal overlopen. Hou jullie zeker niet in.
It seems like I have to reopen Teams, so I'm back in a minute.
Welkom back, Leander.
Thank you. Actually, I'm sick at home. That's why everything works a little bit different than usually for me. So, but I'm not too sick to join you. And of course, it's a pleasure.
We're really happy to have you. So,
yeah, thanks. So where's this share my screen button? I only see mic, video.
Normally it's in the, if you have the three dots.
It's in the three dots, okay.
Oh, no, next to it. It says the camera, microphone, and then share is next to it, normally.
Show device settings, background effects.
So if you have the big red box,
yeah. I think as I have this one. It's a square, right? With
yeah, I think we see you.
Now
yeah, we see the
somehow.
email.
You see my email?
Mm-hmm.
That was not intended, actually. Do you still see my email?
Yes.
Yes.
Unbelievable. It should have asked me which window to share, doesn't it? I'm going to stop presenting for a second and try it again. Stop sharing, says my button. Do I share something right now?
Yes, your email.
Yeah.
Still?
Yes. Now you're gone.
So, okay. And now open shared tray. So let's see what comes up. Nothing. Nothing comes up. I can switch machines if that's turning out to be a too big problem. So okay, I think I give up with this one. I'm back in the middle from another machine. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, this is maybe where you can see how you can share it in the screenshot.
I can't even quit this piece of software.
All right. In the meantime, I suggest we go on to the questions already for a bit. We also, of course, we don't have the Mirador part yet, but maybe it's already interesting to go and see. Karen had a question for the three speakers, but maybe we can continue to Edward and Ingo. So, well, we haven't seen the Mirador talk yet, but Well, if you had to choose between the UV and viewer and Diffie, well, if you would put them in a match, what would be their tactics to win from each other?
I'm biased, I cannot answer.
I agree. I don't think there's any way to answer that. If it's just down to features, I mean, we've got collections already for a long time. 3D, PDFs, ebooks, YouTube now. You know, we're trying to the kind of the value proposition of the UV is that it is a universal viewer, right? That's why the British Library originally kind of took it on and wanted to port it to IIIF, because they had 36 viewers of different types and it was a completely unmanageable mess for them. And they wanted one thing, one project that they could kind of, you know, sponsor now and, you know, and have all in one place. It's almost like I was thinking about those adverts where it's like, have you got lots of loans? Like, get them all into one easily manageable loan. You know, it's like that a little bit. So yeah, that's the kind of value proposition of the UV, and that's why the steering group is an important aspect, because really sustainability is the key to it. Everyone can build software, but can they sustain it forever? And you know, that's the difficult bit, and that's what we're trying to solve.
Yeah, we are also actively developing Tiffy with some developers and have some plans for the future. So I don't know, it's an active developed small Tiffy IIIF viewer that's used in production. Some pages gets all the features, got collection support soon, and IIIF API 3 soon. It's really good usable via API and mobile friendly. So yeah, I told in the presentation. So if you're not convinced, I don't know. We're using it and it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I see. Maybe we can. Thank you for your explanations. We can come back to that a bit later, because I saw Erwin has an extra question, but maybe it's interesting to hear about Mirador first. So, Leander, let's give it another try. Yes.
Seems to work now, doesn't it?
Yeah, great. Yes, we see your presentation.
Okay, thanks a lot, and sorry for these problems. Okay,
No
once again, thank you for having me, inviting me, giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about Mirador. Well, my name is Leander Seiger. As I said before, I have two hats on here. On one hand, I am head of digital services at Leipzig University Library, and I work a lot with IIIF related projects there. And yeah, I think I will come to these aspects later. And on the other hand, I am a founder and consultant of a small company in Leipzig in Germany, Seiger Digital, which actually tries to support and help cultural institutions to work with IIIF, help them to develop prototypes of innovative applications and so on. So, Mirador, what is Mirador? I'm pretty sure all of you have heard the name before and probably know already basically what it is. However, I think I will repeat it from the very basics. Mirador is one of the most popular IIIF applications, and it has some distinctive features to provide. Not only does it display IIIF resources like we would expect from any IIIF application, but the unique feature of Mirador is to actually display multiple IIIF resources side by side on one workspace. And I guess I will show some demos later. It also often provides functionalities for temporary image manipulation, like contrast, brightness, and so on. Sometimes it displays annotations because it is heavily configurable, can run in very different modes. And yeah, if you implement Mirador the right way, you're also able to provide your users with functionalities to create annotations and maybe even publish them. I think I will say some words about this later as well. So let me show you this very prominent screen shot. Every one of you, I think, has seen it before. It's the start screenshot of the continuous deployment version of the Mirador development. Yeah, you can find it very easily from the Mirador's project homepage. But I'm not going to open this now. Maybe I show later some examples. Mirador, from a technical point of view, is just a JavaScript application, as the other two applications we have heard about already today. So Mirador runs in the web browser only. It does not need any server-side component. You just have to compile it and run it on your machine in your browser. That's the very basic setup. Of course, server-based resources are required to actually load content or store user-generated content if there is any. Mirador is quite old, has a long history meanwhile. The first, I just looked, especially for this presentation, when it all started, because it was long before I got in touch with IIIF. The first beta of Mirador 1 was released in 2013, December the 20th. So I guess we should mark this date because it's not too late and we can celebrate 10 years of Mirador. In April 2014, the development of Mirador 2 started, and I think this was a very important step, and it was the beginning of a great success story of Mirador. Because the community around Mirador 2, as far as I know and as far as I followed, grew very rapidly in the coming years, and Mirador was widely implemented by many institutions around the world, and the community around it grew, and people started to develop extensions and plugins for it and modified it in many ways. And I want many Mirador 2 installations have been out there in these days, and I think it's still not too hard to find Mirador 2 installations somewhere. And but I like to show you a small experiment I did many years ago, actually, using Mirador 2. It's integrated with a very simple and easy search interface to get some images from the Metropolitan Museum of Art, for instance, and it allows me to just remind you of the popular Mirador 2 software, which already had a lot of functionalities and options to work with IIIF images. It was easy to load multiple images side by side into one workspace. And this is a point why I specifically chose this installation here is because it gives me the opportunity to also demonstrate annotation functionalities that were possible with Mirador 2. I once hacked a small application around it to enable people to log in the system. And if this is if you are a logged in user, you are able to create your own annotations. Let me open this one again in order to trigger loading the annotations. And now they should come up, and here in this example, you can create your own individual annotations and hide them from other users. For instance, like this, just drawing a box around something, type some words in, and save it for later use. And well, that's the most I could do with Mirador 2 regarding annotations. And I wanted to show you these features because I'm going to come back to this topic later in the talk. So, well, Mirador 2 was very successful, but because it grew so successfully, more and more problems became relevant for the development of Mirador. And the code base of it was considered to become too hard to maintain in the future. Too many or very many people started to create additional features for Mirador, and the code base was not really made for handling many plugins, for enabling people to write plugins for it. So as far as I understood, it was problematic to combine multiple plugins for it, or at least at all, it was writing plugins for it was some kind of hacky, and you had to override core functionalities of Mirador in order to get certain features working. And yeah, this problem obviously became bigger and bigger with the years. So the Mirador community finally decided to think about a complete re-implementation of Mirador. And as far as I remember, the final decision was made during the annual IIIF conference 2018 in Washington, D.C. But it still took about a half a year until re-implementing Mirador 3 actually started. But it did start in the very beginning of 2019, when under the leadership of the Stanford University libraries, a couple of institutions came together in order to start the Mirador 3 architecture and development. So we had a nice 1-week workshop in Stanford at the beginning of 2019 in January, and talked a lot about possible technologies and frameworks that could be used to implement Mirador 3, and which technologies to choose, which approaches to choose for plug-in APIs and such things. Finally, it was decided to build Mirador 3 on the basis of the React framework, the very popular React framework, with Redux state management and the Material UI framework as the basis for the actual user interface. And of course, one very important feature to mention here is that the Mirador-Free had to come with a new concept, some kind of API to allow developers to develop their own plugins without having to hack the Mirador core in any way. As of today, the most, nearly all key features of Mirador-Free have been implemented. Mirador-Free is available and can be used in production. I'm sure you all have seen and used Mirador-Free installations before. Let me point out that it, of course, supports IIIF APIs 2 and 3, including loading IIIF collections. Maybe this is a point it could be improved in the future, but it still is an advanced topic, I would say, and it also, as collections do not really exist in this form anymore in the new IIIF APIs. So maybe, there's some more to think about on this point. In comparison to Mirador 2, Mirador-Free now also features another mode of flexibility in its user interface, and I think I'm going to demo that in a second. And we can already state that plugins for several use cases have been implemented very successfully. However, the development of Mirador-Free slowed down during the last months or years, a little bit after reaching at least the main objectives. Reasons may also be that people from Stanford and also from other institutions, like from Leipzig University Library, left institutions, left development of Mirador-Free, and of course also other projects have become important. So for these people or for these institutions, so people, the overall development slowed down a little bit. Now we are at a point where the source code of Mirador-Free has to be upgraded soon, I guess, especially in regard of React and Material UI, in order to keep up with the current development of these very important and large frameworks. So this is a thing the Mirador community has to take care of in the near future. But from my own point of view, I already can announce that I'm very confident that the required resources will be available in the next months to get these things done. However, the community around Mirador-Free can be considered to be really a large community with many users and a decent number of institutions taking care of development of Mirador-Free. There are, I could pick some examples. For instance, the many activities around Mirador-Free regarding the development of plugins. For instance, you may have seen on Twitter Johannes Beiter from the BSB in Munich, whose development a really great and very good PDF export plugin for Mirador-Free. I'm still very keen to finally see this thing in action. And maybe I come back later to Mirador during another point later in the talk. But for now, I wanted to show you finally the Mirador-Free surface in case you have not seen it before. I guess that's not the case, but anyhow. So this is how Mirador 3 looks like when you start the continuous deployment version of the development system. You can open multiple windows and load items into your workspace. And here comes the promised second way to arrange windows. This is what we currently see is the so-called mosaic mode, where windows automatically arrange as you open or close them. There's another version called elastic, some sort of infinite area to arrange and move your images around, attach new windows to it, detach them, and so on. And yeah, that's one of the possibilities here, which actually, as far as I know, already existed in Mirador 1, but were absent in Mirador 2, and now they are available again in Mirador 3. So, and there's one specific feature I wanted to show here. Actually, I think I like the mosaic mode a little bit more than the flexible one. Because this is a feature I'd like to show you, which did not work for a while, but it was fixed by someone in the recent weeks. So I can show you what I mean. At Leipzig University Library, we recently purchased a so-called multi-spectral digitization system, which allows us to take a couple of images of the same object using different types of radiation. And if you configure your IIIF manifest the right way, then Mirador provides you with such a nice list of layers. And now you can zoom in and switch the layers or blend from one layer to the other and try to discover things on these images that have not been seen before, because maybe not even the library had the time and the manpower to look through these digital images and find and investigate every corner of it. I think I have to put this little bit up in the stack to see it. Yeah, so that's one of the features that now work again. Isn't it interesting? I like it. So, okay, this was a short demo of Mirador 3. And I'd like to go on with some advanced things you could do with Mirador 3. To me personally, the ultimate promise of Mirador is to build a complete workspace environment for researchers, for scholars, digital humanists, whatever you want to call them. And this would not only include of course, not a read-only workspace like Mirador, how it comes out of the box, but to add functionalities to manage your own material, manage your own collections, create projects and annotations, and maybe even publications. You may call them micro publications, or yeah, maybe also larger fully fledged text products. so to say. And there are approaches in this direction for many years now. I think the first one I became aware of was Mirador at Stanford, which already implemented many of these use cases. For instance, it was possible to create your own login, to create collections of IIIF resources, load them into workspaces, annotate them, and so on. As far as I know, Mirador at Stanford is discontinued now, but it was replaced by a new approach called mice.stanford.edu. We also had some presentation from Stanford during the workshop day of this year's annual IIIF conference, so you may find some additional information there. And of course, I would like to say some brief words about our own project in the same direction, the so-called Handschriftenportal. And yeah, this is my example for how to use Mirador as a basis for larger applications. The so-called Handschriftenportal is the upcoming national manuscript portal of Germany. I am in the position to lead the front-end development team of this undertaking. The state libraries in Berlin and Munich are also involved, as well as the HAB in Wolfenbüttel. So this is a multi-institutional project to integrate all the medieval manuscripts from all over Germany, actually using the IIIF standard for image delivery. And this is an example of how to integrate Mirador in a larger context, in a larger application, not only in a large website which comes with a lot of static information also, or catalog functionalities, but to integrate Mirador in one interactive single page application, I would like to say, in order to provide the user with an integrated application as a workspace to really work on their research topics. So in our case, it combines Mirador with an extensive search functionality. We found a solution of how to render XML-TEI documents in Mirador windows, just like the actual IIIF resources. I'm not very sure if we already found the best approach to do this. I personally would love to see IIIF manifest swapped around the TI documents, but for now, yeah, we found maybe a quick solution for it. But yeah, I would be happy to discuss and maybe modify these approaches in the future. And of course, we also integrate some static content from headless WordPress systems. And now we are about to move this project into the second phase of it, and this will give us the opportunity to work on the really interesting features, like offering users to create accounts, to log into the application, to manage their material, to create their annotations, create publications, manage the licenses and accessibility of these publications. So this is our goal for the next, I think, 3 years, around 3 years, to build such a integrated workspace using Mirador as the central component, and using the great interoperability features of IIIF to not only use the content which is integrated in this portal, but content from any other IIIF repository out there. You are invited to check out the current alpha version of the Handschriften portal. It's already, of course, available in English, and yeah, some of the new features are already there. So yeah, we are happy to provide you this alpha version and to hear your feedback. So I think this, I hope this was somehow an interesting overview of Mirador, the IIIF application Mirador. You may find more information on Mirador on projectmirador.org. There's also an active Slack channel. There is also a mailing list for Mirador. So there are different ways to get in touch with the Mirador community. If you want to contact me, here are some ways to do so. Thanks a lot. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you very much, Leander. That was a very profound presentation on Mirador and the new developments on Mirador. Thank you. We've seen in the chat some questions. I think we can start with the question from Guy Dupont, who said, have viewers been reviewed in relationship to the kind of material like manuscripts, paintings, archival material, drawings? And Elisabeth Brakke from Museum M van Leuven has a very practical question to that. She asks, we have the Mirador viewer and we would like to use our collection early modern books and manuscripts as a use case for our website. Is Mirador the best viewer for these kind of documents? For example, for viewing the whole book from cover to cover, flip some pages as a user. Maybe Elisabeth, if you want to, it could be easier for all of us if you would explain your question or talk us into your case, and then maybe we can think about it together. I saw Karin already reacting a bit, but it would be nice maybe to brainstorm a bit together about your case.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we have a project here at Leuven. It's called Boekdelen, and we are currently registering all the books that are so the early printed modern books, the manuscripts, all sort of books, and so it's specifically for this kind of collection. And we want to show them on our website. And we have a viewer, we have Mirador. It's just a recent addition to our website. It's not online yet, but we are exploring what we can do with it. And now I've heard a lot of things about it, and I've learned a bit about the viewer. And I think it's possible, but I was just checking to be sure that this is the best or could be a good viewer for our collection with the books, because what we need is, for example, something that we can show a lot of pictures in one record, so to say, so you can see it from cover to cover, and that you also can maybe turn some pages, like in the example that Karin gave with the sketchbook. We don't have sketchbooks at the moment, but there will be, and there are also some books with prints in it that are pasted in, so you could if you could easily turn some pages in the book, if you can flip just one page, you can see it better as a user. And I know some examples can do that. I think the Universal, and I saw it also in the TIFI, I think. I see Karin says there were two, there were some icons to turn pages in. 3, I think it's a plugin. Okay, so it's possible, but it's also, I'm just curious if it's a standard thing then, or we have to add something to our viewer. We have to make an addition to it just for this collection. That's, I think, my question. Thank you.
Yeah, for so far I know, but maybe Leander can verify it. In the Mirador 2, you saw the icons, like you said in TIFI, on the screen, but in Mirador 3, you don't see them as a standard, but I think you can implement it as a plugin.
Yes, I agree with that. I think the buttons are down here in the basic installation for browsing forward and backward. But yeah, if I understood you correctly, your use case is to just display one item at a time, right?
It would be all the books or most of the books, and then all the pages of those books. So it would be a selection of the best books and then all the pages in it.
In one
in one book.
So it's a recombination of different pages from different books into one view.
It would be more like, I think, separate pictures combined, but not we would add them separately, I think. I'm not sure about specifics, the technical specifics yet.
I think she wants to have one book, like the example I put in the chat.
Yes,
you
exactly.
have one book, but when you have a page that's, for example, upside down, so you can turn the page in the right position. And therefore, you had the icons of rotation in Mirador 2, but you don't have them standard in the Mirador 3. But so far I know, you can put it in the Mirador 3 by implementing a plugin.
That's right. The plugin already exists and can be easily integrated into Mirador 3. But as I understood, I'm not sure if I really understood the use case already. So I could say, if you want to show one item at the time, the other applications like Universal Viewer or Tiffy may also be a great choice for doing this. But if it comes to if you want to provide your users with a workspace to display multiple items, then you may want to give Mirador 3 a try. But if this is the third option I just could think of, if you want to build some kind of overview website which picks interesting pages from different objects and wants to combine them in one site, maybe you can of course use IIIF resources to do so, but maybe it sounds a bit more like an individual application that could be written especially for this use case. But maybe I understood it wrong somehow.
I'll have to check which version we have, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. So
Thank
Ingo
you.
also shared an example from the Tiffy.
Right, this is one thing we did in the GDZ. And so you have this button at the left, there is indicator with a blue circle or dot that indicates something happened there, and you can, as I said, select some pages or one page or whatever, and you can turn them around, whatever you want to. But in general, all these IIIF viewers like Universal Viewer, Mirador, Tiffy are really quite simple and easy to install. So just give it a try using one, and it's easy because you already have the IIIF resources and just load them into the viewer if you want to play around or toy around a little with these things.
All right. Thank you. I think, do you have some more questions, Elizabeth, or is it clear?
I think it was clear. Thank you for
All
the
right,
explanation.
great. Yeah. I see Edward also sharing something. Voila. Do we still have time for another small question? I saw Erwin posting about the first slide on the presentation of Karin that mentioned the technical aspect might be complex for smaller organizations. Does that count for the people present? I think that's a question for the public. And would some users prefer hosted solutions versus maintaining of installing their own viewers? I think that's more a question for people present. Erwin, would you like to elaborate a little bit on that? We don't have that much time anymore, but maybe you can explain a bit
Exactly. I'm not sure if there's room to open the floor for that kind of conversation. But it's because Karen pointed it out in the first part of her slide. Like some of this might be too technical, and I'm sort of wondering if everybody's in the call is sort of maintaining repositories and installing software on a daily basis. That question is not relevant. But I was just very what people are looking for in the call who aren't already using one of the views that were presented.
Does someone want to answer that question? Or maybe in the chat? I know Memo, maybe Nastasia can explain a bit about what Memo is up to for smaller organizations, but I don't know if she's still present.
I'm here, but I don't think I can answer that question. We have to. That's more something. It's not my thing. And I was just away, so I missed part of the question, I think.
It was about smaller institutions, and Erwin asked people present if some users would prefer hosted solutions versus maintaining and installing their own IIIF solution.
Yeah, at Memo we are thinking about implementing IIIF, the IIIF image API on the images that we are storing for other organizations. And we're also thinking about the IIIF presentation API, but that's not, it's not like in the near future that this will be implemented.
I think it's a very big difference if we talk about providing IIIF resources, or if we talk about providing IIIF applications. In the first case, you have to deal with data management to maybe large amounts of data and complicated data transformation and update routines and such things. And on the other hand, providing IIIF application is very easy from the very start, but developing and modifying and customization of such applications can be very challenging for software developers that are not very have not very big knowledge of JavaScript development, or the application itself also is already very complicated. So I think these are different competencies you have to take into account and think what kind of competence do you have in your institution and which not. So I think these are two very different things.
Yes, thank you. I think it's a question that keeps coming back for a lot of organizations wanting to work with IIIF. So I propose, are there any more questions?
I don't know if Guy has got his answer.
Have viewers been reviewed in relation to the kind of materials like manuscripts, painting, archival materials, and drawings? So I think correct me if I'm wrong, that you're meaning what kind of viewer is best for what kind of material?
Yeah, that's correct, yes. Of course, we do have a lot of variety of materials in our archives, but I had the impression that Mirador and I don't know, that most viewers can handle most kinds of materials.
Yeah, I also have that impression. Except I think that Universal has one step extra. They have audio, visual, and 3D is coming. But I think all the rest of the viewers are very the same ones for the objects you mentioned.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know of any reviews, but yes.
Yes.
It tends to be in reaction to use cases that come in where someone wants to use the UV for a particular thing. But generally speaking, yeah, we've got support for left to right and right to left and top to bottom, bottom to top, and all the different kind of manuscript layouts and continuous as well. So there's some very, very large images that are kind of, when you zoom out, it's just a kind of a couple of pixels long strip. And these have come in over the years, and we've gradually kind of implemented those. One of the recent things for Ghent, actually, they needed non-paged content, and our thumbnails panel didn't have proper support for that, so we used the steering group to pay for the implementation of that. So now, if there are leaves in your manuscripts that you don't want to appear in the recto verso thumbnail flow, then you can add a non-paged kind of attribute to that so that they don't appear. But yeah, these things kind of evolve over time, and they're never complete. Software's never complete. It's always in development.
Maybe I could add again the layer feature. I had some trouble to find actually a good way to visualize the possibilities displaying different layers. And in the first place, Mirador didn't work, but somebody magically repaired it. I'm not sure actually about Universal Viewer or Tiffy, but yeah, it was hard to somehow for me. I remember just it was hard to find a viewer to nicely display those image layers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question for me. How do we match?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I have a fantastic answer to it, because the system we purchased a couple of months ago is designed in a way that it already outputs perfectly aligned images. So there's no need for people to sit on Photoshop and move things around. It's just, it spits it out in a perfect way, and we just have to convert it into IIIF. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we're kind of out of questions. So that leaves me to thank you all for your presence, and the PowerPoints and presentations will be shared on collegagroep.iif.org. I will paste it in the chat. And also a little save the date. En save the date, dat is ook hetzelfde in het Engels. Wij gaan op 17 februari een live IIIF-Friday doen. Dus het is voor de eerste keer sinds IIIF-Friday bestaat, want dat valt ongeveer samen met corona. En gaan we in de KBR verder in op IIIF in het onderwijs en in publiekswerking. Jullie gaan er zeker van verder op de hoogte van gehouden worden. Maar we kijken er al sinds naar uit om iedereen in het echt te zien. Dus bij deze, dankjewel voor jullie aanwezigheid. Thank you, speakers, for your very interesting presentations. En als er nog vragen zouden zijn, mogen jullie gerust naar ons mailen en dan forwarden we die wel naar de sprekers. Dus bij deze, dankjewel allemaal en een fijn weekend gewenst. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.